and welcome to Let's Talk HR with Dr. Deneen, the talk show that spotlights HR professionals and talks about all things HR. Today, we will continue our new series on the Let's Talk HR with Dr. Deneen show called Careers That Rock. Oftentimes, HR professionals are instrumental in helping people find sustainable careers and finding their niche in the world of work. This series highlights amazing professionals and provides insight to those who may be interested in pursuing a career that rocks for them. I'm delighted to introduce the second guest of the Careers That Rock series. She is none other than Chief Gina Sweat, Director of Fire Services, City of Memphis Government, and the career we are highlighting today is firefighting and paramedics. Welcome. Chief Sweat.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so glad that you're here today. I am so honored, and we know that firefighting is a career that rocks, right? I am so honored to have you as a guest on the show today. We worked together for many years at the City of Memphis. I've since retired, but I know when I was there, I saw you go up the ranks. So it is a delight to talk about your profession and what you've done, and to talk about how people who may be interested can get involved. So let's talk about it. You are the very first female director of fire services, correct?
That is true.
What an accomplishment that is. So take us through your professional journey from when you started until now.
Okay, so I was a young firefighter hired in 1992 with the Memphis Fire Department.
Wow.
There was 2 women in my fire recruit class of 84 people. So,
Wow.
very early in my career, I realized, there was something different about me from the regular recruits, and being a woman definitely stood out. There was 4 other women that had been hired as firefighters. They came on before me. So there was a lot of adjustments for the fire department hiring new women. So,
Wow.
going through being a firefighter, the training was very hard.
Mm-hmm.
The physical part of it, the mental part of it was, it's all hard. The stress involved in being a firefighter and learning how to navigate through that, as a young person. And then just navigating the opportunities to be promoted along the way. So I'm very proud of the fact that I hit most of the rungs along the way.
Wow.
Firefighters do, we climb ladders literally.
Climb ladders literally,
And then,
yes.
so my career path, I operated as a driver. I was promoted as a driver, driving a engine in the downtown area. Promoted as a lieutenant, an officer over a fire company in charge of the personnel.
Yeah.
Battalion chief over a battalion, geographic part of town, and then division chief. And that's when I started getting more into the more administrative duties.
Yes. Uh-huh.
The exciting part is on the streets and responding to emergency calls and the camaraderie in the fire stations. And then as you get more into the management roles and the administrative roles,
Mm-hmm.
you start finding out what it actually takes to make a fire department run, how those things happen. And then in 2016, I was very fortunate that Mayor Strickland named me as the fire director at the time.
The fire director and the very first female
Yes,
fire
ma'am.
director you just talked about. When you started, there were only two females in your class, right, of 84.
Right.
And look at it now. So you have made a tremendous climb in the fire department. We're so glad. And did you hear all of the jobs that she talked about that's in the career? I tell you what, we're going to talk more about that as we move along. But I do know a fun fact about you.
Okay.
A fun fact, you like to hunt to find 4-leaf clovers. Is that right? Tell us a little bit about that.
That is true. So from a very young age, this was a thing of mine, finding 4-leaf clovers, and apparently I had a knack for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gone back and even found, like in one of my family Bibles,
Uh-huh.
like all these old clovers and stuff over the years. And so it's interesting how that translated to now my adult life and being in the fire service is that knack for being able attention to detail
Yes.
has become very relevant in my career So much so even to the fact that I can point to that several times of lives that I know that I've contributed to saving lives on fire scenes, just having a knack of noticing things that weren't quite right. Or things that were different. So my staff calls it a kind of it's either a blessing or a curse, because I have a knack for noticing when things aren't quite right, and or if things are different, and being able to pick out and do that. So it's one of those fun facts about me that actually transcended into one of my strengths as the fire chief, being able to kind of to pick things that are a little different.
Yeah. Did you hear that? Attention to detail. That is a competency that's required, right? And we'll talk more about that later.
Absolutely.
But finding that attention to detail. So we know that firefighting is such a noble profession. And so what does it take to be a firefighter?
So, I think there's not anything better you can do for your fellow man than to actually protect them and to help save their lives.
Yes.
I think like you said, it is a noble calling, and it takes special people to want to do that. You have to be willing to serve others.
Yes.
And to be able to risk your life to do that.
Yes.
And so that is a very special calling. It's not just a job.
Yes.
Or a career. It is actually something you become. It's almost being a firefighter, living in the fire station is almost like a lifestyle.
Yes.
Because as you know, firefighters they work long shifts, 24-hour shifts.
Okay.
And they work 10 of those a month. So they spend a third of their life in the fire station. So it actually becomes kind of a lifestyle.
Yeah.
A lot of people think of firefighters as being courageous, brave, all of those things, physically fit, and all of those are definitely relevant. A lot of what we do now also revolves around emergency medical response.
Yes.
And becoming an EMT or a paramedic, which I think we can talk about later.
Yeah.
But that is also a special skill set. You have to have the competency to understand how you are literally practicing medicine.
You are.
And you're administering medicine, you're doing life-saving techniques on the streets that people's lives are literally in your hand and dependent on it. So that's another very special skill set. You have to have a passion for wanting to help people. And as you do that, you're encountering people at the worst times of their life.
Yes.
When you call 911, it's not because you're having a good day.
Absolutely.
It's because you're having a really, really bad day, and you're depending on us to come somehow make that better.
And to make it better.
And make it better. And that's what our folks do day in and day out. It takes a special type of integrity, respect for your fellow person to be able to do that.
Yeah. So you heard it. It has to come from the heart. It has to be passion. And it becomes a part of you. Being a firefighter, wanting to go out there and help people that are in distress situations. It is a calling for sure. It's a calling for sure. So you talked about some of the qualities that's required for the profession. So what are some of those other competencies that we talked about? You said attention to detail is one of them. What are some of those other qualities?
So we have an acronym that we use in the fire, and I call it the FIRE acronym.
Okay.
And it's very kind of our value statement. So focus on being able to focus on details, being able to focus on the mission at hand and not get distracted by other things. You have to be very laser focused on what your job is at that moment. And that changes from moment to moment. So you have to be adaptable. You have to learn how to read a situation and make quick decisions based on limited information.
Yes.
So these are things that your training helps, but sometimes you just have to practice. This is a skill set that you have to learn over time.
Oh yeah.
Being able to pass the curriculum, like I said, becoming an EMT or a paramedic is not an easy path. You have to know, anatomy and physiology and the different types of medicines and things like that. So being able to do math, the basic skills, math, reading, communicating with people under stressful conditions. And then most, I like to say the integrity is a big part.
Integrity is
because we are entering people's homes when they're most vulnerable.
Yes.
So having, the utmost integrity so that because people trust us when they're at their lowest.
Yes.
So that's to me one of the key, respecting people that are not like you, that are different from you, that may not be from your same background or your same part of town, but respecting all people you encounter. And then not being okay with just being mediocre.
Yes.
Excellence is what the E stands for, and that's what you should strive for every day.
Excellence every day. That's what we're looking for in firefighting, paramedic, all of those careers that is a part of the emergency medical services. So you talked about some assessments that that a person interested would have to go through. Can you take us through those assessments for maybe a firefighter, some of those assessments? And I know physical agility is one of them, right?
It is. And I'll just go ahead and throw this out there. JoinMemphisFire.com.
JoinMemphisFire.com.
JoinMemphisFire.com has all of the information to help you navigate the process, all the careers that we have available in the Memphis Fire Department. Part of that is an application process, as you know, and one of the criteria is a test to measure your competency to be able to pass the curriculum, both firefighting and EMS. And so that's the first part. And then once you that level of competency is determined, then we move into a physical agility type of assessment. And it's basically because it's a very physically demanding job. So we want to make sure that you have the ability to do it physically or to get trained to where you can do it. So we have a process to measure that. And then once you make it through those, then we start checking into backgrounds.
Yeah.
And then there's a psychological test to make sure that you're mentally fit and capable of doing the job. It is a very stressful, emotional type job. So you have to be well in all areas, and emotional fitness is one of the things that we measure to get, for you to be hired. And obviously, and then go back to the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a clean record, that you have that integrity that we're looking for to join the ranks of the fire department.
So there are a number of things that happen, a number of assessments. We talked about physical agility, we talked about psychological, or we talked about just some of the basic things that happen. So you have to prepare. Now, you can get in shape now, right? You don't have to wait until you get ready to take that test, right? And so part of the process, do you still have time for people to come and practice their agility?
We have a little bit different process than from when you were with the city of Memphis, but if you go to our website, it will show you some of the things you can do to prepare yourself. Obviously, you want to build up your endurance.
Yes.
To be able to do the job we do. So you also want to build up your physical ability to be able to do some of the strenuous work as far as lifting stretchers, carrying hose lines and things like that.
Yes.
So there's any number of websites and things that are available that shows the different things that you can do to prepare for a career in the fire service. We do have a recruitment center that we're getting ready to open up this month. So with that, there will be an opportunity for people to come out, put their hands on some of the equipment, go visit a fire station. Yeah. And actually talk to the firefighters in there and see, talk about what it's like to be a firefighter. The doors are generally open, and they're happy to talk to people about careers in the fire service.
Wonderful. So glad to hear about the recruitment center, some things that we talked about years ago. It's finally coming apart. So we are so glad to hear that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So in firefighting, we always visualize a person on a fire truck. That's what we think. That's all that happens. But it's so much more that happens. What are some of the other jobs behind the scenes? We talked a little bit about it, but kind of bring it to the forefront. You mentioned driver, you mentioned lieutenant. What are some of those other things?
Right. So, like you said, a lot of people think about the big red truck coming down the road, lights and sirens. Right. And that's the exciting part. We also have the big red ambulances that go up and down the road. Right. And those are staffed by an EMT and a paramedic most of the time, EMT advanced. So there's different levels of medical professionals that you can get to be a part of our team. Our firefighters and EMT personnel are cross-trained. That means they do firefighting half the day, and then they ride on the ambulance the other half of the day.
Nice to know.
So they get to be, into both worlds a little bit of the same. There's other opportunities as well. We have our own dispatch center. So when you call 911, it goes to the police dispatchers, and then they transfer all the fire calls to us.
Yes.
So pretty much anything that's not criminally related,
It comes to
us.
Yeah.
So we handle it that way. We have fire inspectors. They go out and make sure that fire code, the new construction, inspect all the commercial buildings to make sure that they're up to fire code, no violations, and make sure they're safe for everybody to visit. You can be a fire investigator, which is basically a arm of the police, of policing. So they investigate crimes related to arson and things like that, and follow them all the way through the process of prosecuting people who do commit those type of crimes. So there's a lot of opportunity in the fire service. We also operate an emergency management office for the city of Memphis. So there's opportunities there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more to it than just being a firefighter.
Yes. And so it's so much more. It's so much out there. So you want to go to that website again and say it again so we'll make sure it's right.
JoinMemphisFire.com.
JoinMemphisFire.com. Go to it now. So what's a typical day in the life of, since it's dual, firefighter, paramedic, what's a typical day like?
Yeah. So, like I said, firefighters work, our firefighters in the city of Memphis work 24-hour shifts. So they get to work a little before 7. And one of the first things they do is our fire stations never close. So they have to relieve, someone is always on duty. They have to replace the person, get just a report about, things that might have transpired the day before. They check their equipment, make sure everything's ready to go, make sure, all their inventory is there, make sure their safety equipment is ready to go, that they have everything they need to do their job. And then we kind of move into a routine of similar things to what you do during your day. They eat breakfast at the fire station. Most of them, they cook. We have kitchens and they have to cook their own breakfast, which they have to bring their own food in. The city doesn't provide that for them. So generally they'll, after they make sure everything's ready to go, they'll just go through the cooking, house chores, like cleaning up the fire station, cutting the grass, washing the fire truck, ambulances, washing the equipment, things like that. They do up to 2 hours of training a day on things that are just to keep their skills set. A lot of times they'll go out in the community. They'll do things like flushing hydrants or go checking out different buildings and things to make sure that when they respond there that they know where everything is and how to gain access to the building and things like that. To have some downtime, hopefully. And then, in between all of these things that I just mentioned, if a call comes in, you drop everything.
You drop everything.
And the expectation is they have to be out at the door within 60 seconds.
Wow.
Of getting that call.
Yes.
And we actually measure them to that. So we measure, response times and everything to make sure that they're responding in a prompt fashion, which I believe the citizens of Memphis are very accustomed to from the fire department. We have very good response times.
Very good. Record-breaking response times, may I add.
We do very well at that. So, like I said, anytime during the day, they, the training, the getting out and looking at their territories and making sure they, making sure they learn how to operate the apparatus if you have new people. Times when there's time for promotional processes, they start studying. A lot of times they're studying in the fire station, getting through the EMS processes. They're in different parts of their schooling. So the days are pretty full between doing that, hopefully get a little rest in between there and get some sleep when they can.
Get some sleep when they can. Yeah. They are together. Yeah. So they become where they bond, right?
Absolutely.
The sisterhood, brotherhood, they become one.
It's real.
And it's real, yeah. So it is a noble profession. In fact, it dates back to the 2nd century, firefighting, and can be found then. So please get in touch and be involved. So you talked about some of the training, so and the promotional processes. So is that the way you move up the ranks, through promotional processes?
For For the most part, it
Yeah.
is. It's a very competitive process. Getting hired is actually a competitive process. So you need to make sure, like I said, you prepare for the test, the physical test, make sure your background's clear. And then once you get on the department and make it through, if you don't have your EMS certification already, which is something I'd like to stress, we are now, if you want to get in the line faster to become a member of the Memphis Fire Department, you need to go ahead and get into EMT school and go in and get that certification.
Yes.
If you can bring that to the table, it's going to help you get hired faster than somebody who doesn't have an EMT program.
Did you hear that?
So that's the key. So we definitely getting people through the certification process. Once we hire them, if they don't have anything, it can take up to like 4 years to get your paramedic certification. So it takes a while to get through that. And then they have to do it when they're off duty. So if you can get it done in advance, it puts you closer to the front of the line to get hired. And then you can your pay increases the higher your EMS certification.
Okay.
So there's all kinds of good benefits of going ahead and getting those EMS certifications before you apply. So that's one of the keys.
Yeah, one of the keys, getting that EMS certification. And where are some of the locations or the educational institutions where they can start getting that?
So once we hire you, we actually have our own EMS education program. So we can train our own personnel through the EMT basic all the way up through paramedic. There's one route. Some local schools, Southwest Community College also provides. Dyersburg Community College provides an EMS program that a lot of our students go to. And now there's several online programs to go on and get those EMS certifications. I think it's better to have the hands-on training, depending on how you are with your learning. But some people are able to navigate the online programs pretty good. But the online program seems to be a stronger foundation for a lot of our folks that we're hiring.
Okay, you have it. Get the EMS first. Get that certification first, and it's a springboard into the fire department.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's great. So we have students that are coming out of school, right? College students that are coming out of school, graduating. If someone is interested in pursuing a career in firefighting, what courses should they be prepared for? We know EMS is one. Is there something else that they could take that will help prepare them for firefighting and emergency medical services?
So there aren't really any local programs other than actually getting hired by a fire department to get through the firefighting curriculum. And it's pretty straightforward. It's really intensely focused on the firefighting aspect. The EMS programs that's the key. There are lots of avenues to be able to get those programs. Definitely, if you're thinking about getting anatomy and physiology, is a big one to get. Also math, because when you're administering medicine, there's a lot of calculations that have to be done and everything. So math, reading skills, those are all key.
Yes.
Key. Anything you can do to prepare, especially adult learners, if you've been out of school for a while, I would strongly suggest taking one of those bridge classes about, getting back into learning, some of the adult learner type classes or prerequisites. I think it just helps you get back if you hadn't been in the process of studying for tests for a while.
Right.
It's a good thing to get, do some of those classes to prepare you for adult learning.
Okay, adult learning classes. Go and do it now. Prepare now. This is such good information. Start doing it now. So if you had any advice to someone who wants to enter the field of firefighting and paramedics, what would it be to them?
So my advice would be to find someone that's in the business now.
Okay.
Either go to the fire station if you know, everybody knows a firefighter, right? Because every time I go out in the community, somebody asks me if I know such and such firefighter.
Right.
So if you know a firefighter, talk to them. Go visit one of your local fire stations. We're scattered. We have 57 stations scattered around the city.
Okay.
So stop in and talk to them, or join memphisfire.com. If you go to our website, our recruiters are on there. We actually have in-house recruiters. They're actually firefighter paramedics for the city of Memphis.
Yeah.
They will talk to you about what it's really like to be a firefighter. They will give you advice. even if we will set you up with a mentor, if you want someone to kind of help coach you along the way.
Yeah.
We have some different programs now to help guide them if they're really serious and want a career in the fire service.
You know what to do. Listen, go to it. Go to the website. Find a mentor. Talk to someone about this. It is a great career, and it is a sustaining career. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss that at all. Thank you so much for coming today. I am so glad that you came today. She took time out of her busy schedule to come here today to talk about firefighting and talk about emergency medical services. So thank you so much.
Oh, I'm always happy to talk about what a great career this is. 31 years. Like you said, I've been doing this for 31 years. This is a life-changing career. This is a generational poverty-changing career for so many of our firefighters I have talked to over the years. That they've been able to change not only their lives, but they've been able to change their families' lives.
Yes.
Because you have great benefits. It's a good salary. It's a good paying job. You're going to get to make a difference in your community.
Yeah.
And like I said, and it changes families.
And it changes lives.
It changes families and it changes lives.
Yes. Gotta have that heart. She talked about it. Gotta have the heart, do the study, and be prepared to change the life of people that you meet every day. Again, Chief Gina Sweat, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for being a role model, and thank you for making history in the city of Memphis as being the very first female Director of Fire Services. Thank you so much. And now we will switch over to our HR Go-Getter for the month of June 2023. The HR Go-Getter for June 2023 is Aviana Johnson. She is a recent graduate from the University of Memphis, Go Tigers, and will start a new career in HR with ProLift rigging, and she has been in the HR field for 8 months. When asked why she loves this profession, she says, "I love human resources because it is a business of people. I heavily enjoy helping others and value servant leadership. I love that there are so many avenues in the field of HR, from recruiting to training and development to employment law to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So many potential sectors that one could explore and learn. In addition, I appreciate how much HR is continually helping to grow and develop others." That's the way to go. HR Go-Getter, June 2023, Aviana Johnson. Thank you so much. Wow, we have learned so much about the career and profession of firefighting and paramedics and emergency management services with my guest, Chief Gina Sweat, the very first female director of fire services with the city of Memphis. Being informed and aware about the possibilities of careers that are available is paramount. HR professionals can be the resource to help educate and guide you to the career and profession that rocks for you. Be sure to watch a new episode of Let's Talk HR with Dr. Deneen, the first of every month on the YouTube channel of the same name. Please note, you can watch Let's Talk HR with Dr. Deneen and prior episodes at any time. Go to YouTube and type in the talk show title. Be sure to subscribe, no fee, and click on the notification bell. This is HR TV. I'm Dr. Deneen, and I want to talk HR with you. HR forever. See you next time.